Hey, we're getting closer to the STAAR test. Your homework this weekend is to watch this video over laws of exponents. TEK A11B says simplify numeric and algebraic expressions using the laws of exponents, including integral rational exponents. So remember, if you look back at the STAAR, the program we've been using to get used to what it's going to feel like on Tuesday, we have the reference STAAR sheet. That is where I found it. Here are the properties of exponents. It will be on your reference chart right here. We have the product where it's multiplication, you add exponents. We have the quotient where it's division, you subtract exponents. Power to a power, you will multiply exponents. Rational exponent, we really never went over that. But you can see when it's something like 5 to the power of 4/3, it says you can rewrite it with a square root sign. Put the 5, which is the A, inside, raise it to the power of m. This is my m. And the n is on the outside. So that is how you would rewrite it from a fraction exponent. Right here is your fraction exponent to a square root, rational. So rational exponent, this is a rational exponent rewritten in square root form. Blah, blah, blah. Let's clear all that. Back to the lesson. So I'm going to go over the most basic examples, the STAAR examples, and then combinations of different rules. So here's what we need to remember when it comes to multiplying. They will ask you to multiply when it's talking about area, length times width of rectangle or square. When it's multiplication, you might see 2 parentheses side by side. Your teach tip is to multiply the big numbers and add exponents. So multiply the big numbers, but you're going to add the little numbers. Let's take a look at what that looks like. We do have 2 parentheses side by side, just like it said. We're going to multiply the big, add exponents. Okay, so let's do that. This would be a big number. This would also be a big number. Multiply the big numbers. Now it says to add exponents. Well, I'm going to take p to the 4th and p squared, and since they're both a p, I'm going to add exponents. And then I'm going to take k cubed and k to the 5th. Since they're both k's, I'm going to add exponents. That would be your final answer. This is a basic example of multiplication. When we see multiplication, we multiply the big numbers, but we add the exponents. Let's see dividing. When it's dividing, it still could be used in area. If they give you the length and they give you the area, you may have to find the width. You're going to divide. They could also just give you in a fraction form. If it's a fraction, then you are dividing. Your teach tip is to divide big numbers, subtract exponents. It's the opposite of the one we just did. Okay, so let's take a look at our basic example. these would be considered the big numbers. What is 12 divided by 4? Yes, 3. Now, these are x's. Those are like bases. You can subtract exponents. These are the same variable. Why? You can subtract exponents. 9 minus 4 is 5. This is a basic example. Divide big numbers, subtract exponents. And our third most common problem on the STAAR is raising a power to a power. The parentheses with an exponent inside and outside. Your teach tip is to multiply or distribute the outside exponent to all inside exponents. Remember to put a 1 if there isn't an exponent above a term. Here it is. H has an exponent of 6. X has an exponent of 3. 5 does not have an exponent. You must put a 1 there. Now take your outer exponent and multiply it to your inner exponents. Rewrite your base. 1 times 3 is 3. Rewrite your base. 3 times 3 is 9. Rewrite your base. 6 times 3 is 18. Simplify it. What is 5 to the power of 3? Now you can go back to your calculator and put 5 to the power of 3 is 125. And you are done. These are the 3 basic kinds of problems you're going to see most likely. Here's some examples from the STAAR. I'm going to give you 3 sets of parentheses, and you're supposed to know that that means multiplication. When you multiply, you're going to multiply big numbers. You're going to add exponents. Let's do it. Multiply big numbers. What is 2 times 4 times 3? Now let's do J's. J to the 3, J to the 6, J squared. Now go ahead and do your G's. G to the 9, G and G to the negative 3. If you don't have an exponent, make it a 1. So our final answer for that would be 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 3 is 24. We're going to have a J. J to the power of 3 plus 6 is 9, and 9 plus 2 more is 11. And we're going to have a G to the power of 9 plus 1 is 10, and 10 plus negative 3 is 7. Final answer. 24, J to the power 11, G to the 7. For this example, remember what we talked about. You're going to divide big numbers, subtract exponents. Again, divide big numbers. 25 divided by 85. 25 divided by 85 is a weird number. Press the circle. Just call it 5 over 17. You're just reducing. We have x's. We're going to subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. There are more x's on the top, so the answer must be on the top. For my k's, I'm going to subtract exponents. 9 minus a negative 6. 9 minus negative 6 is positive 15. K to the positive 15. For my y's, 2 minus 2 is 0. Anything to the 0 is 1. If it's 1, you don't even have to write it. This is my final answer, although I would most likely put 17 centered in the middle of the problem because I'm OCD. And here's another example. Power to a power. We're going to multiply or distribute 5 to all exponents. Here we go. Put a 1 above anything that doesn't have an exponent. And now multiply. Negative 2 to the power of 5 times 1. D to the power of 5 times 2. S to the power of 4 times 5. Final answer, type that into Desmos. Negative 2 to the power of 5. And the reason why I am using a parentheses is because it's a negative number and I'm raising it to a power. If I would have said negative 2 to the power of 6, it would be a positive number. Had I not used a parenthesis, it would have given me a wrong answer, a negative number. So I want to always put a negative number raised to an exponent in a parenthesis. Now I know my final answer is negative 32, D to the 10th, S to the 20th. All right, moving into the combinations. I might tell you how to do this problem. You may have done it a different way. We still get the right answer. That's because there's more than one way to do these 3 problems. My way that I say may not be it's not going to be the only way. And maybe if there's time, I will explain more than one way. So for example, on this first problem, I'm going to need to fix this first. I could fix it 2 different ways. One way is I could move the negative back up to the top. So now you have y to the 8th. When you move something up or down, you change the sign of the exponent. If I move it from a negative to up, now I'm going to make it a positive. And now I could call that y to the 8 plus 2 is 10. So I could move it, put them together, and get y to the 10th. Another way I could do it, Coach, didn't you say if it was dividing, you subtract exponents? Sure. What is an 8 minus a negative 2? It's the same answer. 10. Doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you do what you need to do correctly. So I'm going to leave that answer there. Remember, we're going to put a 1 above the y if it's not there. This is multiplication. Whenever we have multiplication, you're going to add exponents. 7 plus 1 is now 8. And it's this answer times this answer. So my black y times my red y, we're going to add exponents. Final answer is y to the 18th. For this middle combination, I have to do this first. This says distribute first before you divide me. I need to remember to put a 1 above the 12, and we're going to distribute. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. I know that 12 squared is really 144. 12 squared is 144. I'm going to divide that by 6, w to the -5th. What is, when we divide, we have to divide big numbers. 144 divided by 6. The answer is 24. When I divide w's, I subtract exponents. What is 8 minus -5? 8 minus -5 is a 13. And P doesn't have anything to do, so rewrite P, final answer. Again, we have power to power, and then we have multiplication between the two sets of parentheses. So power to power means put a 1 above your exponent that doesn't have it, above your base that doesn't have an exponent, multiply that times all 3 powers. So 3 to the 1 times 3, t to the -1 times 3, and w to the 2 times 3. Multiply that together with what I have in black. Well, first of all, 3 to the power of 3. 3 to the power of 3 is 27. Now I can put 27 times 4 together. I can put my t's together. I can also put my w's together. Put a 1, oops, sorry about that. Put a 1 above my w there. Multiply 27 times 4, which is 96. Final answer is 96. When you multiply your t's together, you add exponents. -3 plus 4 is 1. So don't even write a 1. Leave it alone. For w, we have 6 plus 1 is 7. Final answer. Now, what you're going to do is read through these applications on page 40 and page 41. Complete all questions. When you come back to school on Monday or Tuesday is the STAAR, but when you come back to school, you can check your answers. Come to my room. I may even have them posted to Blend. Okay, have a good night. Do these problems. If you get stuck, talk to me Monday morning. Bye.